There's no way that I have to fight to the #1 contender. I have to fight directly for the belt.
So you don't think right now Ilia deserves a shot at 155 pounds?
Without fighting in 155? Without? No, I don't agree.
Do you feel like there is no more challenge left for you at featherweight, and perhaps you want to fight Islam Makhachev next?
I will move up and be the first one to submit Islam.
Alright guys, Ilia Topuria has recently said that he's preparing for Islam and Charles for his next fight, because the UFC has promised him that he'll fight for the lightweight championship belt next. That tells me that either he'll be fighting with Islam, or Islam will be moving up in the weight class and Ilia will be fighting Charles for the vacant lightweight title. In this video I will show you the reason why Islam's situation is getting worse. Let's start with the first one, Belal Muhammad.
Dana, please, just give me my shot.
After saying this so many times, Belal finally got the opportunity to fight for the championship belt. He bullied Leon in his hometown and become the new welterweight champion of the world. And ever since that time, Islam has not able to move up because Belal is his teammate.
Now Belal is a champion and this guy broke my plans, he'll be double champ.
Arman Tsarukyan. If we look at Islam's resume right now, the last 2 opponents that he fought is because of Arman. And before people start commenting, let me explain. It all started when Arman won against Charles in UFC 300. And right after the fight, let's listen to what UFC said to Arman.
When I left Octagon, right away Hunter came and said June 1st, Islam.
Now let's see what Arman asked to UFC.
I said, what happened if I'm not going to fight in June? Nothing, you're going to fight at the end of this year for the title.
So the UFC has offered Arman to fight against Islam in UFC 302, but he refused because it was a short notice fight for Arman, who just fought in UFC 300, which is why Islam fought Dustin in UFC 302. After that, Arman was booked to fight against Islam for the championship belt in UFC 311. Everyone was so excited for this matchup. Arman was supposed to be one of the toughest matchups for Islam. Whole week Arman said this to everyone.
Yeah, everybody asking like, tell me your secret technique. That technique, you're gonna say, oh wow, what is that?
And then this happened.
We received a call from Arman Tsarukyan, who informed us that he was experiencing significant back pain due to the injury. He feels like he is not healthy enough to compete.
No one expected this new move from Arman. The UFC was looking for the replacement and find Moicano, who just said this in his last fight.
Don't come up with guys that are tough. I want easy fights.
Dana and UFC directly sent him to the final boss. Islam finished Moicano in round first. Charles Oliveira. Islam became champion by defeating Charles Oliveira in UFC 280. And after that fight, let's listen to what he said.
I didn't see this short guy. Bring him here.
Get Volkanovski in here.
Islam called out the #1 pound-for-pound fighter Alex Volkanovski, and they fought in UFC 284. Islam did not look as dominant as we have seen him in his previous fight, but he clearly won. After that, Charles was booked to fight against Islam in UFC 294, but right before the fight, Charles pulled out due to an injury in his final sparring session. Alex Volkanovski stepped into the fight against Islam on 10 days short notice. We all know how that fight went. Hey guys, I have 8 subscribers right now trying to reach 1,000. If you could smash that subscribe button, I'll greatly appreciate it. Back to the video. Now let's compare the resume of Islam if Charles and Arman have not pulled out of the fight. Islam would have already fought Charles and Arman 2 times. Even Justin Gaethje if UFC has not booked Justin vs Max for UFC 300.
I don't understand, no makes sense why they don't give Islam Justin Gaethje, why they make him fight versus Holloway.
Dana White and UFC. Fans have always criticized everyone, but what if your own boss said these narratives about you?
When you talk about pound for pound, and I don't want to shit on any of my other guys, but who is it right now? Islam? Islam, many people believe, lost to the guy who's a weight class below him. Is that how pound for pound works?
Islam has fought everyone who is put in front of him, unlike the GOAT of the sport, who is not willing to fight Chael Sonnen in short notice fight. Then ducked Francis Ngannou, and now is ducking the interim heavyweight champion of the world, Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones was so sad when Alex Pereira lost the belt that he posted this. While doing the research for this video, I find out Islam was scheduled to fight Beneil Dariush in UFC Fight Night, but Beneil pulled out of the fight due to the ankle injury. Islam ended up fighting Bobby Green. And again in UFC 267, he was scheduled to fight Rafael dos Santos, who was pulled out of the fight because of an injury. Islam ended up fighting Dan Hooker in UFC 267. Which brings me to my next point. Even after so many fighters pulled out of the fight against Islam, Dana and UFC still have not planned any backup fighter, a real contender for UFC 311. They put Tom Aspinall as a backup fighter for Jon Jones versus Stipe fight, which we all know Jon Jones and Stipe would not fight if any of them pulled out. And UFC is not able to have a backup fighter for Islam. Future options. Moving up. According to the reports, Islam is waiting for UFC 315, which is headlined by Belal and JDM. If JDM wins, Islam will move up and fight Jack for the welterweight belt. But if Belal wins, Islam will not be able to move up in the welterweight division. Staying at lightweight. The UFC will not let Arman fight for the lightweight belt anytime soon because he pulled out from the fight in UFC 311. Charles Oliveira has already lost to Arman in UFC 300 and has only win against Michael Chandler after that, which is why Islam versus Charles does not make any sense either. Justin Gaethje has lost to Max Holloway in UFC 300 and after that has only one win over Rafael. Ilia Topuria recently vacated the featherweight belt and moved up to the lightweight division. He is on a 16-fight winning streak and has knocked out both Volkanovski and Max Holloway in his last 2 fights. Fans are very eager to forge a fight between Islam and Topuria. We already have someone who told us how to beat Ilia.
How do you think you would beat Ilia Topuria?
If UFC make Islam versus Topuria, it will be a hard fight for both of them. I can also understand how it is unfair for Islam, especially when Dana White and fans have criticized his win over Volkanovski. But I still think it will be a best fight for Islam. His resume will look great in future if he defeats Ilia, who is undefeated at the moment. Let me know in the comment section what do you guys think.
If I'm Jon Jones and I'm home watching this fight, I start moving to 85. Jon Jones really wants to fight. Jon Jones knows he can get the fight. Francis Ngannou is the heavyweight champion of the world right now. All he's got to do is pick up the phone and call Hunter and we can get the deal done.